people who are actually building on Bland and not just people who are interested start playing around. And that's where we can kind of get to the more, nitty gritty stuff. So I think today, what we're gonna focus and talk about more is mostly gonna be tools for things like email collection, saying and listening for sensitive information. That's mostly what we're gonna be doing today. So that's kind of the plan. It's not gonna be that long. It'll probably be like 20 to 25 minutes just because all hands is right now and I want to go back to all hands, but we want to do these office hours anyway. So that's kind of the plan. Yeah, cool. Okay, so the things that I have on my plate right now are, pull up my notes. I want to talk about the spelling and spacing characters. So I'm going to go to the send call page on Bland and start sharing my screen. Yeah, I think someone records these every time. So would recommend, yeah, Ming, if you don't mind sharing recordings afterwards, would be very helpful. Let me move this tab down here. Close out of stuff. One moment. Alrighty. Okay, so first thing I want to kind of talk about today is about saying sensitive information. And then really quickly, I'm gonna set up. I have a Google Voice number here that I want to forward to. So let me really quickly just make sure that I get calls as this Google Voice number. One moment. All right, we might not do Google Voice. I might have to stop sharing my screen every time I every time I want to share things. We might have to stop sharing my screen every single time I want to get a phone call, which kind of sucks, but that's okay. You know what? Let me test this out really quick, and then we can see if this works. I'll be able to share my screen with numbers that go live, which would be great. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, I'll likely have to stop sharing my screen, unfortunately, which kind of sucks, but that's okay. Cool. All right, that's all right. No worries. Let me start sending out. Oh, it actually did come through, but it got marked as spam. That's so unfortunate. Okay, I have a number. Let me send one more really quick. Sorry for the delay, everyone. Not going through. Oh, that's annoying. Okay, well, whatever. That's all right. Yeah. So basically, the plan that I want to do for today is first start off by, talking about specifically how to say information slowly. So how I want to do that is we're going to use the example of a phone number, and I'm going to show you guys kind of an example of what a good like how to actually say these prompts. So to give you guys like a bit of context about how this works, right? When you're saying a phone number or you're spelling something out, there's a certain like rhythm that you'll say, or cadence, speech cadence. that you'll say in order to make sure that the information you're saying is getting repeated at the correct time. And so using prompting, you can have your agent, you control how fast it says something or how much space there is between certain groups of numbers or letters or something like that. So to kind of show you what like a really good example of this would be used for, let's say you're giving someone a phone number, right? And so usually when you give someone a phone number, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And this is for United States phone numbers. So, but that's just, think about the cadence that you would use in your own country. United States phone numbers is you split up the first three, be like 1, 2, 3, and there'd be a pause, 4, 5, 6, there's a little pause, and 7, 8, 9, 0, right? And so the question is if you can insert those pauses in between each number, then you're going to be able to convey information to people on calls a lot more accurately, right? So we actually have the ability to insert these pauses. And the way you do that is with this special character. And so I'll kind of explain what this means. Basically, this number inside this character here, I can kind of blow this up a little bit more. The number inside of this character here, let me hide the code as well. Let's say X is like is actually some decimal. And so that's what I would recommend is anything from like 0.1 to 0.9. And so basically, this is all well and good. And if we navigate to the voices page, I can kind of show you what this looks like. And click save for someone like Florian.
123, please, Sadi.
Oh, what's pronouncing German?
123, 56, 78, 90.
Yeah. So if we bump this up to 0.5 and we change this to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. You'll kind of see the difference here.
123, 456, 7890.
Yeah. So that's kind of how you would control this cadence, right? And there's also another thing that I kind of showed there, which is, when you're doing a phone number like that, it's natural to do like 1, 2, 3, not like 123. And so that's where the spelling can get tricky. So let's kind of combine all this information into one, prompt. And I'll also show you another like really cool trick that you'll be able to use when doing this. So what we'll do in this prompt is we'll say something like, you are telling a user, you are repeating back to a user the phone number that they specify, or a phone number, specifically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. Now, here's where you kind of get like control over the way that you say this number back. So on one hand, we can kind of just give it examples and we can say, okay, you're going to insert this character at this specific spot. You're going to, and whatever, right? But what's really cool about if you prompt this is if you explain how that character works and what that character does, the LLM will be able to control the number inside of it. And so if you say something like, hey, can you actually say that a bit slower? The number inside of it will be able to increment, which means that the phone number will be repeated. It will be repeated lower, and the LLM has control over that. Or if you say, oh, I want to say that faster, the LLM has control over that. So let's kind of like, I just realized I'm completely sharing my authorization token, which I will roll after this, but actually, I'm going to roll that right now. You guys are not allowed to see my authorization token. Let me roll my Authy. Yeah, that was a big slip up. Thank God I didn't. That's so funny. Oh my God. Okay. I just rolled that off key. Let me reshare my screen again. Okay. Yeah, good thing you don't know how to use it yet. Exactly. So let's kind of recreate that prompt, right? So you will be saying you will be repeating a phone number to a user, specifically 123-456-7890. And then what we're going to do is we're going to explain this tool. So you have access, you have the ability to pause, and you want to explain why you would do it as well, right? Because it wants the context to be able to understand. So you have the ability to pause between certain characters, certain groups, characters, or groups of characters in order to more effectively repeat the phone number. You may use this, you should use this to control how quickly you are repeating information for the user. The following, well, actually, more effective phone number by inserting a sequence of characters where X is a floating point number from 0.1 to 0.9. And so we'll say, use this to repeat the phone number in groups more clearly to the user. And then always give an example. So for example, 123, I'm just giving a rough number, 456-7890 becomes 123 456 7890. Now, there's another thing that we need to do as well, is you need to specifically remember, we also need to describe the step of turning these into single digits, right? So you have the ability to pause between certain characters more effectively, blah, 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 right? But what we'll also say is additionally, for every number, replace that number with the actual letter, like spelled, I forget what the specific word is, but spelled out version of that number. For example, and so we have that, and then we'll say, using these two rules, here is how you can effectively communicate a phone number. And this becomes 123 456 7890, like that. So let me kind of show you what this sounds like. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and send this call to myself. And I'm going to change the number a bit to this here. So that's the number that we're going to be using. I'm going to send this call to myself. And you guys are going to see exactly how this works. Let me mute my Slack notifications. Alrighty. And I'm also going to show the code as well, because I would like to, well, we'll just send it, that's okay. All right. I'm going to change the voice. Actually, the voice is fine. The prompt. Cool. All right. Oh no, I don't think it properly rolled my auth key. Let me get my correct auth key. One moment. I see. Okay, so this is the active one. I'm gonna have to initiate this by API request. Give me one moment. It's a very nice API key. And then I want to just copy this. I kind of wish we didn't have the JSON mode on the send call page. I don't know if that's helpful to you guys, but I don't personally like it. All right, let me delete all these random settings. Okay, cool. And then switch to Alexa. I think she's better at saying specific characters. Okay, let me send this to myself. Hopefully it actually went through. Okay, so I'm getting the phone call. And now when I pick it up, I'm gonna disable Bluetooth so it doesn't go to my headphones. There you go. And so that's how you would do it kind of as a group. And it makes it sound a lot more friendly. Yeah. So that's kind of how that send call, that grouping of phone numbers works. I have to sneeze in a moment. Oh, excuse me. Thank you. Yeah. And so that's kind of how we do the the saying of phone numbers like that. And so for spelling something, it's pretty much the exact same concept, except you're telling it to replace it in words between the letters. Yeah, that's kind of like the basics of saying and spelling. Any questions there? I think that was the one thing I was going to cover in terms of that, because I've seen people be very have a lot of questions about that. Awesome. Very happy. That was very clear. Yeah, so receiving and collecting info is kind of similar. To be honest with you, I have like another whole beginner office hours kind of planned for talking about the collecting of information, because it's a lot different and there's just a lot more things to go over. Yeah, street addresses, totally. I think there's some Mingos, who is in this channel right now, probably is the best I've seen so far at collecting this information, especially within a pathways context. I would ask him a lot of questions, but as I said, there's going to be a lot of explanation in terms of like I'm planning on dedicating an entire office hours for this. But in the meantime, you should ask Mingos about it. Any other questions? I think this is the only thing I'm going to cover for today, just because I want to have a short one, and honestly, I'm really tired. Yeah, data enrichment API in a webhook node. Yeah, totally. So you're collecting their first and last name. Is that what you're doing? Or street address? Got it. So actually, what I recommend doing is, if you can find an enrichment API that takes phone number and you're doing inbound calls or outbound calls, try that. Phone numbers work really, really, really well for enrichment. Got it. I see. Street address as an output. I see. Okay. Any other questions from you guys? I'm going to probably end at 4. global nodes and how to move around between logical routes in a call. Some issues with any path stemming from global prompts looping around and cycling back. Yeah, did you check off the automatically redirect back to node option? Automatically redirect, you did? Interesting. Did you check off path like edge back to previous node? Interesting. Okay, I would open a ticket. That's unexpected behavior. Inbound call details during the call. Yeah, that's a great question. So the way that how people do inbound inbound calls typically, and we're kind of thinking about a way to change it, is if you're running a pathway, having a API request as the start node, so webhook node as a start node, and then associating whichever information you need to fetch based on the user's phone number. That is what I've seen be the best. Sorry, there was like a fly nearby. That's what I've seen is like the best way to do that is to just look up by phone number, by inbound phone number, because that's always going to be consistent. You're always going to have that. And then using that information from there. A blend native integration with Google Maps APIs to reconcile most likely. Have you tried to make a custom tool? I don't think we would make a Google Maps integration, but a custom tool will probably solve what you're looking for. Any way to improve the agent's accuracy to determine if reaching voicemail via prompting? If you're using pathways, I don't know. If you're using the prompt-based approach, you can specify like a ton of examples. I think I remember either you're using French or just a non-English language. If you're using English, you can turn on the option sensitive _ voicemail _ detection, true. And that is really, really good, which I've noticed. But it doesn't work for any other languages, which is kind of sucks. So if you're doing it for other languages and you're doing a prompt-based approach, you can have it basically, have a first sentence, which is like, or just have it say goodbye and then hang up the call. And as long as you give it a ton of examples as to when to hang up, that's usually when it's really good. Yeah, Lindsay, I can absolutely help you out with that. If you actually want to message that in our Slack channel, I can show you and Brett how to turn that setting on, because I know you guys are using English. Interesting, using an AI router. Right, okay. Yeah, I'm interested to hear more about that actually. Yeah, published voice clones available to the public. Yeah, we just had a conversation about that internally. They are available to the public and we're going to make them private, specific to a user. When you receive a phone call, can you determine okay, if you're using English, I would do something along the lines of sensitive voicemail detection. True, like that. Twilio, I should have done that this week. I'll do that this weekend. And refund. Location of where it came from. I would look up the phone number if you can. It's like the first 3 digits of the phone number for US, or I don't know if how that works in Australia, but like you can figure out general area code information based off the phone number. Right. Yeah. I'm not sure. Hello, Simon. I just started using this tool this week for a work project and trying to implement a 20+ minute questionnaire for a brain health assessment application. Yeah, totally. I'd recommend checking out the Pathways. Pathways feature is really good at assessments, 20-minute assessments and stuff like that. How to click the phone number in an inbound call with Pathways without asking the caller. You can refer automatically to the phone call by doing that. That's the variable that you'd use. And then on the agent query, it's kind of cool if you want to have the bot reference inbound phone number for more personal dialogue. Yeah. Oh, totally. That's really smart. I really like that. Totally. Yeah. Are you still based in New York? And then that makes it a more natural dialogue too, because if they say something like, "Oh no, I'm not. I'm actually from XYZ," then you can extract that, which is really good. That's really smart. I think it's a great idea. Any other questions from you guys? I'm gonna go like 2 or 3 minutes over. And then also, as I said before, if you guys are still looking for tickets, or sorry, for the credits, $30 in credits, just open a ticket and say that you're an office hours, and I'm happy to award them. I think that's what we're gonna do from now on. Yeah, Vector Store, definitely. Yeah, that makes total sense. Pick up how much time? I don't think so. That's a good question. Like how long is left within the remaining of the call? I don't think so. I haven't really seen that use case. I don't think it's able to do that. Can't think of a way to do that right now. Unless you have like a no. Yeah, no. I don't think it'd be able to do that. Well, you might. With the now variable at the beginning, you might be able to do something like I don't know actually. Yeah, we are completely overhauling Turbo under the hood. I would just avoid it for now until we say that it's properly used. Is it efficient to use global nodes to handle different branches of a conversation in different contexts for each? I've seen people use global nodes really in a really interesting way, which is if you have a global node, and then you have those are like the groups of your paths, and people will like have entire pathways go down that global node. I've seen that work. I think it's a good strategy. I haven't really seen that much regarding it though. Like I haven't done it yet to like myself to give it like the Simon stamp of approval, but I do think that it's interesting. Yeah, I asked if that's backwards crap or not. No, I don't think so. I'm not 100% sure. I know that there's one customer that was doing it properly though. Follow-up question: is there any way to import the pathways in a file format like JSON/YAML? It's kind of weird to hit tens of pathways with very similar info. So 2 things on that. First, if you're creating very similar R Young, sorry, before I continue, R Young, didn't I award you with your credits? Do you still have an issue within that ticket or? No, I just don't remember if you added me in it or if I gave you the credits because I kind of did that yesterday. Excuse me. You can just use the same ticket if you'd like. Sorry. So to answer your previous question of export/import the pathways in a file format for JSON/YAML. So like, here's the thing, right? One, if you're creating very similar pathways, that's probably a sign that you should start using variables. If you, for some reason, absolutely need to create different, like literally different pathways, I would recommend if you go to the network tab in your browser, when you save a pathway, you'll see this event called the update event, and it posts all of the information, and you should be able to create your own pseudo like pathways API with that. We don't officially support it because I'm too lazy to make that, but I would recommend it. Sub accounts, yeah, please don't use sub accounts. I'm gonna get really sad. Please don't. Oh yeah, that too. You can definitely use generate pathways as like as an API. Highly recommend that. Animate background sounds, yeah, I need to just like turn it on. We implemented a while ago, but it put a ton of like network load. I literally just need to like turn it back on. So yeah. Not me, the engineer implemented it a while. I need to tell him to turn it back on, but he's very busy right now. Collecting email addresses. We talked about it a bit. I said at Ming. At him again. At Ming. If we have a bunch of pathways that are near identical, what's the best approach to use variables to use So I'd have to see your specific pathway in order to give you advice on how exactly to do that. Or I would ask someone in Discord about how to do it. Like generally designing your pathways like that is the best route. All right, at 4:07, I'll probably. Oh right, yeah, you did open a ticket. Cool, great, fantastic. All right, any other quick questions before I jump off here? I will have it. By the way, I'll have an announcement open for like all features and stuff, like new features and stuff coming tomorrow. I do those on Saturday. Saturday is my Discord day, although I do have a feature due on Monday. So yeah, of course. Yeah, no problem, guys. Okay, reminder, make sure you open a ticket with your phone number so I can give you free credits, please, because I want you to use this platform for free. You could literally, if you would just attend office hours every week, you could probably use Plant for free. Connie, I would type in the general chat and they can answer it. I don't actually know how to do it. Okay. Goodbye, guys. Ming will provide with the recording, and I hope you guys have a good weekend. Adios.